Alright guys, I kind of wanted to show how I make cutting boards out of cutouts when you get like a sink or countertop done. When you order a granite countertop and they custom cut it to whatever size, they'll have these cutouts and they'll usually just scrap them. If you ask for, you paid for the stone when you bought the countertops. And so they usually just throw these away, or they make cutting boards out of them or something like that. But if you just ask for it when you order it, they'll give them to you. They'll also usually offer to make you a cutting board out of it, but I'm going to show you guys how to do it yourself without paying $100 or whatever they're going to charge you per cutting board. I had 4 of these, so I've already done 2 of them, so I want to show you guys how I did it real quick. Now this is not to resell, they're not fancy. I don't spend a lot of time on this. I just do it real quick, and we hand them out as gifts to family members, to friends, family, stuff like that. And so I don't polish these all the way up, and I don't get super detailed about it. You can if you want to. I don't do it because I don't feel like spending the time, and these are just gifts for people. So I'm going to show you how I go about cutting them up and getting them to go and stuff like that. So I got the camera set up, and I'm just going to go through it. It doesn't take me long. I'm just going to show you kind of how I go about it, and how I go about marking it. So I just find a point on here where they all kind of line up. So I'm measuring 40 on there. And I'm just going to go through it real quick to show you guys kind of how I go about it. And these are really cool gifts, and these granite, cutting boards are expensive if you buy them and stuff. And you can obviously pay the shop to do them if you don't have the stuff. But I already had the tools. You can buy a pack of these cheap grinding blades for like $40 or so off Amazon. It comes with like a set of them. And then I already had the wheels. You just need like a masonry bit on your grinder wheel. And then I have my little angle grinder polisher thing here. And then you always need some little bumpers to stick on the bottom of them. And I'll kind of go through, and I'm just going to basically get rid of these nasty cuts that they had in there from when they made the countertop. I'm going to cut them off and make kind of a shape. You can make whatever shape you want. If you want to make them, cut them straight, you can make a square. I just do this just because it's simple and fast, and it's just easy. And I'm not trying to resell these. And like I said, I don't polish them up all the way up to 3,000. I just get them up to like 800 or 1,000 and call it a day. I don't touch the top because the top's already been polished. And I'll just show you kind of how I go about it. Make sure you mask up. I have a fan sitting over there. It blows all the dust out from, you don't want it to get blowing around different directions. So I set up a fan so it all kind of blows it in one direction. I have my eye protection and my mask here as well. Alright, if you saw me when I cut these, I kind of notched in, and that's just so we can flip it over and we know where to make the line. So basically the blade isn't big enough to cut all the way through, so it kind of just, it goes most of the way through. So I just come on the back side here, line it up, and then make my line from those little notches I made. And the other side. And like I said, this is just a quick, easy thing to do. I already had these pads from another project, so it didn't honestly cost me any money or anything. So this is just like a quick, easy. And these aren't perfect. You could sit here and polish them perfect, but I just do it just to kind of make them. And people like them as gifts because they're nice cutting boards. Alright, as you can see, they're not perfect. They're pretty good though. I mean, just take it like that. Kind of still have the flat top on it, smooth. And then that cutting the masonry bit just kind of does a pretty good job of cutting it apart. And then I'll do the bottom I'll do it upside down with the 50. And I'll do a polish and then I'll flip it over and do the other grits from the top. So I'll show you guys how I do that. I got my 50 bit pretty worn out, but it'll still work for these purposes. Alright, my 50 blade's about shot, but so that's 50. This is the bottom, like I said, so I just do like a rough kind of polish and then I'll get over to the top. And like I said, this isn't perfect by no means, but this is just a quick, easy way to kind of make some kind of cool cutting boards out of it. And like I said, it would have been going to scrap otherwise. So I got my 100 on here now, and like I have my top part up now, and I'll kind of go around and do that. You're going to still see some grind cuts in here even after I polish. Like I said, you can polish these out and get a good set of pads and polish them out and make it perfect, but for purpose of what I do, I'm not too worried about the sides of it. probably the longest grit I spend on is the 100, just because it just cuts faster. Like I said, this isn't going to be perfect. You'll see some gouges and stuff on the side, but for what I'm doing, it's fine. You could spend more time polishing it up and stuff. So I'm going to go to 200. I usually go up to about 800, or you could do 1,000, or you can go all the way up really to really want it to be kind of perfect and spend your time cutting it straight. But oh. Alright, so that's about as high as I take it. If I was going to go any higher, I would wet polish it. I'd add water to it and take it up to, you know, I got 3,000, 6,000 here. You could take it up to about 1,500, but for what I do, it's fine. You can still see like there's a couple of gouges in there on the sides where I didn't hold the cutter perfectly flat, but I'm not worried about it. So nice and smooth on top. The sides are decent. I mean, like I said, you could take it up higher if you wanted to, if you were that worried about it, trying to make it look nicer. And I'll clean it off and stick some of these little tabs on the bottom of here, like 4 of them, and that's it. You get yourself a nice little cutting board, nice granite cutting board, put on your countertops and use and stuff. And then as you cut and scratch it, you can use these same pads to polish the scratches back out of it. Like I said, if I wasn't going any higher than 800, I'd start getting it wet. Spray some water on it, and then polish it out like that. If I was to do it any higher, but yeah, like I said, this is about it. So I just wanted to show you guys kind of a quick, easy way. Like I said, these are the cutouts from when you get a granite countertop and they cut out sinks and stuff. These are the pieces that you pay for, because you pay by square foot, and they usually discard. So you ask them like, hey, can I have the sink cutouts? And they'll usually say, hey, well, you know, if you're trying to make cutting boards, we'll like for $100, we'll make a cutting board of it. And they'll do it with like the jet and stuff like that, and they'll make it look real nice. But for $100, I don't, or whatever they charge, I can just come here, use the stuff I already have, and cut them out and give them to family members and friends for gifts. But that's kind of how I go about it. I thought I'd show you guys how I go about it. But you're still here. Thanks for watching.